Shock, Andrew, and Harrison, get ready. You're next on the Reddit Swing Golf Analysis. Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome again back to the Reddit Swing Analysis series. This is episode 11. You don't have to be in Reddit to submit these videos. If you have a video that you're watching, and there's a link down in the description with an email, just send me it down the line and phrase on. Unfortunately, Jacques here just sent me it down the line, but we'll make best with what we have. So if you do send them, make sure you send both, because it really helps me analyze, and I want to make sure you get the information out to you. I can see stuff in the back that I won't be able to see in the front, and vice versa. So it could actually contradict each other. So we need that both sides. But let's make do with what we have. Jacques is, let me pull up his notes here. Only been playing for 5 months, so welcome to golf. It's a pleasure to be here helping you out. And he just is curious to see whether I can analyze these swings. So I'll try my best for you, Jacques. And what we're going to do, I hope I'm saying that name correctly. If not, I apologize. But let's create some lines here. And thank you to that comment, whoever commented. Let me know that we can change this in the settings so I don't have to remind myself. I'm free of my New Year's resolution, so we're good to go. We're just going to draw some lower plane lines, upper plane lines, back brace line, and some head motion lines. Just real basic lines, just to see the overall motion of your swing. Now let's take a look at what we have. Okay. All right, so immediately we see a lot of turn, a lot of manipulation, a lot of weight distribution issues. Motion is a little bit too long, but so let's just break it down. Toes are very heavy. You can see the heels coming up on the edge of the ground there. That's going to result, as you take that club back, your weight's going to fall more to your toes, bringing your head closer to the golf ball and down as well. Your shoulder turn is pretty good. I mean, you establish a lot of shoulder turn, but it's kind of getting blocked by your weight moving towards your toes. If you take a look at where your tilt should be, let's get rid of this one because you do a pretty good job getting the top, but your tilt should be 90 degrees of that spine. Let's take a look. Do we get there? Yeah, we do a pretty good job. So pretty good. I mean, you turn around your spine pretty well. Arms are very low, but that honestly could just be your way of keeping balance, because if your body's going towards your toes as you take that club back because you're already starting on your toes, one thing can help you keep your balance is getting your arms low and pulling your weight back behind you to keep some sort of centeredness going on. So definitely get your weight more centered for you, not sort of reaching for the golf ball. You can see you're reaching a little bit. The arms aren't hanging down naturally, kind of being pushed out. So this is a very toe heavy motion. In terms of the length of the swing, very long. We don't need all that excess motion. I'd say get your turn established right away, which is about there. You can stop your turn and just raise your arms to that secondary plane line. Makes it a lot easier to come down into the slot. And let me redraw your secondary plane line here so we can see where you are excuse me, in terms of that slot. Okay, so we go to the top here. So arms do a good job of getting at that secondary plane line, but from here you're so toe heavy, you're kind of stacked on your top. All you do is basically turn from that top position. I don't think there's very much weight distribution to your lead side, so I'd be curious to see that front view if your hips tilt into the target instead of just turning. This is usually a sign of just nothing but turn and hardly any tilt. So focus on your hips tilting. In other words, push your left hip to your target, which will cause your upper body to tilt back a little bit, and that will help you not turn as much with the upper body, but turn a lot with the lower body, keep the upper body more steady. You almost want closed shoulders at impact. So this is just past, I'd say this is the frame after impact, and look how wide open your shoulders are. They don't need to be that open. You just need to kind of square your shoulders up more, but that's caused by the domino effect of you starting too much on your toes, and that causes some issues going back. So for you, without seeing that front view, I'm assuming just by some experience is watch that left hip, push it into the target from the top of your swing, get more weight on your center of your feet so you're not so toe heavy, and just feel like a nice wide turn. Keep your arms right in front of your chest. So I hope that helps. It's kind of short, but it should be enough for you to at least get going. But again, don't do this unless you're with a teaching professional. You're at a point now, only been playing for 5 months. You want to get ahead of the cart. You want to get the lessons in there. You want to get the education for your swing. Don't apply everybody's knowledge to your swing. You need one person that can go to you and you can go to them and they can figure it out on their own, because this is a journey that two of you need to make together. Best of luck to you. Let me know how it goes. I'm gonna guess, since I have no idea where you're from, let me just throw out Paris. Let me know. Thank you. Next up. Okay, here we have Andrew. Andrew, let's take a look at some lines here. Thanks for sending both down the line in front view. Makes it a little bit easier. We're going to draw some impact lines here, a little bit of a head brace line again, and your right brace line as you take that club back. Okay, a little bit of, tiny bit of bowing, but not too bad. Got a little power V going, which is good. Club goes way past parallel, which is something I'm not a fan of. You're driving your hips, which is great. A little bit of standing up at impact. Club's deflecting off the toes, so that's a result of you standing up. As you stand up, the club gets closer to your body, so you're going to start hitting off the toe. You can see you hit on the toe, club face opens up and then closes back down. So if you start feeling club face issues, like it's spinning in your hand, club's not spinning in your hand, it's just being hit off the toe or the heel. This one's a toe. That's a result of you standing up. Nice follow through though. I mean, look at that. So once you've struck the golf ball, your motions are clearly there because you're holding that triangle, holding that triangle, holding that triangle. That's beautiful. That's really hard to do. So kudos with that. I think there's a lot of promise in the swing. I think you just have to free yourself up a little bit. So your first initial motion, try and establish more turn, especially with that right hip. So turn, keep turning, keep turning, keep turning, which will get your shoulders to turn quicker. You know, they've hardly moved and the club's already past parallel. So get that initial turn much quicker. So turn your hips and shoulders more, get your arms to stop more out in front of your body here. So you're gonna have, with this increase of turn, you know, so basically there's your shoulder triangle. So that's where the hands should kind of be at that point. So you see the hands are already crossing back. So keep that relative, keep the triangles together as long as you can. Get that width of arc, get that turn established. And from that position, it's a lot easier to turn and get through the golf ball. But that's it from that view. Close club face, strong grip. I can see why you can start to hit some draws when you are reliant upon your hands. Typically with stronger club faces, stronger grips, you need your body to be so much more involved. If your body's not involved, ball flight issues. Weaker grips, you can get away with more arm issues. So it just really depends on your range of motion, injuries. So again, this is just blind information. Let's go to the side, see if that helps us. All right, we have our down the line here. So we're standing a little bit too tall. I can already kind of see that. Let's draw your plane lines here to see what's going on. Your spine angle, I'm assuming this might start standing up at impact just by what we saw there. So a little bit too close for me. I think just a little bit more separation. And I think that's probably why you don't turn as much and you get your arms more involved quicker, because when you turn here, your hands and arms might bump into your right thigh. But let's take a look at what happens. Okay, look at that, camera shifted on me. So we're gonna have to redraw this. Okay, I just redrew it. So let's take a look now. Okay, good job. But that's manufactured. I mean, it's a good job for what you're trying to accomplish here. You'll start to notice your arms go much lower as you get your arms, your body more involved with that turn. That's okay. Club face is shut compared to your spine angle. You get your arms to the top. Again, this is very, I don't want to say manipulative, but you are manipulating the planes just with your arms and hands. You're trying to get the turn, but you're already starting to see, you're starting to stand up. A lot of unnecessary motion here. So if you just continue to go on that motion, you'll be coming outside the in. So the way you combat that is you don't really do much with your hands here. You start standing up, and there's that standing up motion to help you provide some room for your arms and hands to go under. So you have like a slinging motion here, and you know you can play that, but it takes a lot of golf balls to learn that. And you see it coming off the toe again. So both strikes, you see that club face deflecting. So that's, again, from you standing up, your hands get a little bit higher, the droop of the club gets affected. A lot of things can happen from that position. And there's that little high draw you see. You can do two things. You can continue to play with this swing and just hit thousands of balls a week to get the timing down. Or if you want to try and reinvent your swing, you'd have to definitely work with somebody. My recommendations, if this was you and me, I'd have you stand further back, bend over just a little bit, get the turn established, get the width of arc established, not have as many moving parts, and then change the grip later. You don't want to change the grip right away because that'll affect you. you might want to change them both at the same time, but that's where the decision should be made by the coach. So if you're not seeing somebody yet, I highly recommend you see somebody. And just based on the images in the back, I'm just going to shout out Tennessee. I don't know why, but that lake looks very Tennessee-ish. I think I see some alligators there. All right, let's take a look who's next. Okay, last we have Harrison. Harrison just sent me it down the line too. So again, if you send me videos, make sure you try and include both, because it's doing you a disservice by me just having to look at one side, because what I see on one side, it could change my whole perception once I see the other side. It's like a double-sided coin right now. You're only going to get one answer. Wait till you get your setup here. Okay, so let's take a look at this motion. Plane line, spine angle. We do a little bit of a head brace line, and let's take a look. Okay, so spine angle is doing a pretty good job of staying in there. Same sort of thing, you look very much on your toes, and you can see as you strike that golf ball, left heel's up in the air. As you strike it past impact, you see that spinning of your right heel. So definitely toe based, which causes a little bit of crunching at the golf ball. So if you draw the spine line and the back brace line here, as you strike that golf ball, see it's crunching just a little bit. And that does affect ball flight, especially if you want to try and become a really good ball striker. You do have a rerouting motion. I'm just curious if when you started playing golf, if you played as a child and you had heavy clubs, this is probably where that comes from. When I started playing golf, I used a persimmon cut down 3-wood, and I was 5 years old, so I couldn't turn. I'd have to pick that club up. Overall, though, it's pretty solid motion. You do have a loop. I've seen many great players with loops, so it really depends on, can you do that routinely over and over again? And if the answer is yes, just keep doing it. I don't see much going on with the swing other than a tiny bit of spine loss. So maybe, put your feet a fraction closer to the golf ball. We're talking a few inches, and kind of settle more to the center of your feet because you look a little bit too toe heavy. And let me see if you have any misses here. Oh, nothing. Just he says he's struggling with the straight left arm at impact. So I'm not quite sure of seeing that on this view. It's hard to see. It looks pretty good. I don't see any issues. I'd say maybe just a little bit more turn the way through. It looks like your arms do cross the line, so across the body, I mean. So a front view would really help out. And the way I tell this is past impact here, the exit of your arms, you can see that last little bit of motion down there. That's usually a sign. You see how that right arm pulls back and you're kind of crossing back to your right shoulder? That's usually a sign that the arms have crossed the chest too much. So a front view would really help me diagnose this. But from the rear view, looks pretty good. If this was my student, I'd go over their goals. I'd go over, what are you trying to accomplish? Are you trying to accomplish a tournament bounce swing where it's not going to have any issues or a few issues when pressure is applied in the tournament situation? If that's the case, we might have to look at doing that rerouting a little bit. You're always going to have a reroute, but maybe a little bit tighter, so there's not much compensations going on. If you're just looking to improve your ball striking, you can still just hit tons of golf balls with this swing. It looks pretty sturdy enough. If you want to, drop your handicap, then I'd have to do a full game diagnostics on you and see if it's short game, look at your strengths and weaknesses, how many fairways, greens, putts, all that stuff. So there's so many ways to attack swing issues. By me just looking at them without knowing anything like that, I just focus on weight distribution, get it under your heels a little bit more, and try and rotate more through the golf ball instead of getting your hands and arms to kind of flip at it. But I hope that helps. And thank you very much for the support. It's hard for me to tell where you're from with that midnight sky. I do see some shadows in the back, so I'm just going to throw out a guess and just, you know what? I'm going to go out on a limb here and say, Georgia. I don't know why, but Georgia. All right, guys. Thanks a lot. Thanks for the support. If you know anybody that needs an analysis done, links in the description. If you like this content, just go ahead and hit that sub. I appreciate it. And notifications just so you know when a new video is updated. This is purely for educational purposes only. Take this with a grain of salt. Work with a PGA Golf Pro where she or he can really help you diagnose your issues and take you to the next level. Thank you so much. And fairways and greens.